Yay, I'm live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Wow, so many comments already. Let me see who's here, and then we'll jump right into the lesson. There's actually a video coming out today also. It'll drop in about 3 hours. And so, yeah, what's today's video? Oh, my goodness. I just don't even know. Let me tell you what today's video is that is coming out in 3 hours. Looking at my schedule here, there's a lot. Oh yeah, that is a good one. Is it the 23rd? Yeah, open throat singing. That is coming out later today. Very important topic. So hi, Rajvardhan. I'm sorry if I'm not saying all your names right. I never know exactly how to say it. Awesome. Okay, I'll get into all of your Vanita. Hi, it's good that you're here. Lena. Okay, let's wait just a minute or so for everyone to come in. If you follow me on Instagram, you may see occasionally that I go outside into nature a lot. It gives me a lot. And today is such a rainy day, so I couldn't really go out for a long walk or anything today. So why not do a live stream? That's a good use of my time, right? And then, by the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, why not follow me on Instagram? I have someone helping me with a bunch of other stuff, so I can actually do more Instagram now, and I try to do stories so you get a little bit more connection, and I love to connect more with you guys. So hi, David. It's good to have you here. Deepa. Oh, my Instagram ID, you just search for my name, or my handle is Freya Casey Music. So Freya Casey Music is my Instagram. So I'd love to connect there. Okay, let's jump into the lesson. Back to the basics, or the perfect recipe for great singing. It's almost like it's always the same thing. So here is what I see among all of my students. Thank you for your comments. I will get into them a little bit later. Let me now teach my lesson, and then I'll connect a little bit, okay? It's always the same story, pretty much. I just ran my belting challenge last week. Some of you may have been part of that. It was amazing. There were more than 300 people in the group that I created just for the belting challenge. And we had a lot of fun. And I allowed everyone just to post them doing exercises, just a short video of themselves doing the exercises that I showed in my lesson videos. And it always comes back to the same thing. It doesn't matter. We start easy. We start with really basic, simple exercises, and then it just adds. It's like math. You just learn something really simple, and then it builds on that, and then you build on that again, and then you build on that again. And the more advanced you get, the more those gaps are going to manifest that you have that refer to the basics. So, if you can't count 1 through 10, it's going to be really hard to understand hundreds and thousands. And if you can't add and subtract, it's going to be really hard to do equations or anything like that. So these are the basics. They are the building blocks that everything else is built upon. It's very much the same with singing. And I just wanted to lay down all of the building blocks that there are. And the reason why I'm calling this video Back to the Basics is because it always comes back to the basics. It doesn't even matter what you do. It doesn't matter how advanced. If you're doing belting, head voice, opera, pop, jazz, whistle register, it doesn't even matter what you do. It always, if something goes wrong, it doesn't work out, it always comes back to all those basic things. It never fails. It's like that all the time. Okay, and I'm going to talk about all those building blocks. In order to do that, I'm actually going to go into my Back to the Basics course, and I'm actually going to look at the outline of all the content that I have in there, and I'm going to tell you. So the first, wait, that's the wrong one. Here I am. Okay, so the first element is, of course, support. And in order to get support, it's not just like saying, well, just support. How do you do that? There are, even for support, there are prerequisites. Excuse me. Let's see how I can get the phlegm away. Live demonstration. It sits there when my vocal cords vibrate a little bit lower. So, okay, good. Very quick clearing of the throat, not a long. So now it's clear. Okay, thank you. Sorry, humor me. So in order to have the prerequisites in place for good support, you need to center your body. That doesn't just mean stand straight. It really means getting into the perfect position to allow no tension where it doesn't need to be, relaxation where it needs to be relaxed, and tension where it needs to work hard. So where do we need to work? You have to create your posture in a way that around your lungs, all the muscles that are involved in pushing air out and letting it in, they need to work when you sing. So where are these muscles? Well, one of the muscles is the diaphragm. It actually helps you inhale and exhale, push the air out, and it goes out of the way when you're pulling in the air. And then not just the diaphragm, there are more muscles involved, and they're all around your ribs. That's why I always talk about expanding your ribs. And in order to expand your ribs, if you're slouched over, have you ever tried that? Slouch over, and so that it's almost like your belly is bent forward a little bit. There's like around your stomach, it almost feels like there's a crease. It's really hard to work those muscles now when you're just slouched over. On the other hand, when you're really tall, it does become a lot easier to operate those. So that is a really important ingredient. Also, not tensing your shoulders. This is one of the elements that needs to be loose and relaxed. And also, you don't need your neck to operate those parts that help you sing. On the contrary, if this is too tense, it might put pressure on your larynx and influence your pharyngeal space in a negative way because that tension just continues on to places where it doesn't need to be. So really important. So in my Back to the Basics course, I have like support, the heart of singing. It is literally, it's your engine. And so I have a video about what is support and why is it so important? Center your body. Diaphragm or not? That is the question. So what is the diaphragm? Everyone talks about that. The art of inhaling and exhaling. So there is a process that you can optimize how to get in the air the proper way and to how to let it out the proper way. And then there's pressure and closure. That has a lot to do with combining that control that you have over the air with your vocal cords. Okay, like really coordinating that. And then, more details about support. It's really important. Now let's go to the next element here. Now, of course, we've talked about the air and support. Now you can control all the air, how it goes in and how it comes out. You have support. The next thing is actual vocal cords. What do they do? Now, there's a lot of things you can do with your vocal cords. You can sing high, you can sing low, you can sing softly, you can sing loudly, you can sing in head voice and chest voice. There's the passaggio, there's the break in the voice. So there's a lot involved. So you have to learn, like in order to really operate your voice, you have to learn chest voice. And I have videos in my course about chest voice exercises, head voice exercises. Here's falsetto. Falsetto, what is it? And then falsetto exercises because we need it sometimes. Mixed voice exercises. So knowing how to operate your vocal cords. And then there's belting and belting exercises. So what are all these different ways of operating your vocal cords? And what is the difference? Why is it important to know that? And why do we need all those different ways to vocalize? It's really important to know that because it has a huge effect on the way you sound. Na, 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 na. Sounds so different from na, 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 na. It also sounds different from na, 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 na. All different sounds, and so it's very relevant. The next ingredient in the perfect recipe for singing is becoming really aware of after you actually produce sound with the air that you now control really well, and now you know what register you're in and what the vocal cords do, how they close and all that. Now you have to optimize that sound that comes out of the raw vocal cords. And then there are all the moving parts involved. When I talk about the moving parts or like the soft parts, I talk about the larynx, the jaw, the tongue, the soft palate, and of course, again, the vocal cords. You can do more than just be in a register. But these are all the elements that you can vary. You can either have a high larynx or a low larynx, and it really does a lot to your sound. You can do a lot with your jaw, and depending on its position, it can change your sound. You could do a lot with the tongue, the tip of the tongue, the middle of your tongue, the back of your tongue. And then, of course, there's this really wonderful creature called the soft palate, which, like, we all ask ourselves, how do I even move it? It's like I know how to move my arm, and I always make fun of this because there are people who actually know how to move one eyebrow up and down. There are people who know how to move like one ear. How weird is that? But obviously, I mean, there are muscles everywhere, and some people have learned to feel how to isolate that muscle so they can just focus on just moving one muscle. I can do one really cool thing. My daughter laughs about me when I show her this. I can move my nose. I actually feel those muscles right here, and I can move in a rhythm. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but I can actually voluntarily, I feel those muscles and I can move them however I want them in whatever rhythm. And you can do the same thing with, your larynx, your jaw, your tongue, your soft palate, your pharyngeal space, the middle of your tongue, the back of your tongue. Like every centimeter of that or every inch of that can be moved in different ways. And so you can create all these different shapes that then amplifies your sound or not. You can make a nasal sound or a more chesty sound, higher, lower, more open, more closed, more wide, more narrow. And knowing all these things, that is the next really important ingredient in great singing. So really important to know what the difference is, where all those parts and how do I operate them. That is, of course, the hardest thing, how to know how to operate them. The next thing is, so now I know all these things and now I'm operating and I know how to do it. Now there are problems. Now you have to know how to troubleshoot. And this is where it's really important to know all those basics, because anything you do and anything that can go wrong doing it comes back to all those things that I just mentioned. So help, my voice is cracking. Here are some reasons why it could be cracking. Is it a matter of support? Check it. Is it? Yes, no. Is it a matter of even not having good posture so you can't even have steady support? Is it a matter of vocal cord closure? Is it a matter of not being clear about what muscles to engage in order to stay in one specific register? Next problem, for example, I have no power in my voice. So why is that? Again, basics. Is it because you don't have enough support in order to compress? Is it because you don't have enough vocal cord closure and therefore you're really breathy and you can't really create a thicker, denser sound with that? The next problem could be, I can't sing on pitch. Okay, there are problems that you can fix. And I have some exercises in there. So I have like a video about pitch accuracy, which I think is so important. I mean, you could do all the fancy sounds in the world, but if you don't continue to work on pitch accuracy, then that could be a problem if you're not accurate on your pitches. It doesn't matter how wonderful your voice sounds. I can't speak today. If your pitch is off, it's just going to sound all wrong, okay? So I have also ear training is so important. Ear training, you need to continually do that. If you are not close to perfect, it is really beneficial to do ear training in order to have better tuning, to have better pitch accuracy. Okay, so one part of pitch accuracy is of course hearing, and another part is actually executing and hearing yourself while you sing. That's another element. That's also where it could go wrong. And again, in my course, I have videos, I have audios even about all that. And then there is, of course, how do I do a proper warm up? You could know all these basics, but if you just jump into singing aggressively, it's not really gonna help you execute correctly. You need to warm up those muscles. It's just like someone who wants to compete in the Olympics lifting heavy weights. If you just start lifting that heavy weight, you're going to pull a muscle and then you're going to be out. So knowing how to do a proper warm-up that is suitable for your voice type, for your level, for what your problems are, addressing all those things is really important. And then, of course, there are things that have to do with musicality that also has a huge effect on, like, how do you sound? Phrasing. What is phrasing? Do you know what phrasing is? Do you know why it is important? There's harmony progression and instrumentation that is going on in the music that gives you clues about what you need to do with your voice. Dynamics. Do I need to do crescendo, a decrescendo? Do I need to be short on that last pitch or loud? Do I need to be heavy or light? And it sounds so different depending on how you shape that phrasing. It's like speaking. When I speak now, I don't make any sense. See, when I have the wrong inflection and the wrong emphasis, it's really hard to listen. It just sounds wrong. So in the melody line, they're like, it all goes into phrasing. The melody line, the harmony progression, and your enunciation is another thing that is so important, which not only helps the audience understand you, it also helps you to actually make the shapes that are the most resonant. So having really proper enunciation, knowing how to place each and every vowel, each and every consonant, and I have a video about every single vowel in my Back to the Basics course. And then there's voice colors. How do I influence voice colors? And there comes again the pharynx, the larynx, the vocal cord closure. How breathy are you? It all has an effect on your actual voice color. Very, very relevant. And then, training to be even more accurate. That is the next element. More accuracy in all of those elements that I just talked about. There's the onset. There's sliding and slurring. There's leaning into the pitch. There's ping and how to use it correctly for singing. There could be a phrase where there's a couple pitches with more ping and then less ping, which doesn't mean it's bad, but we need sometimes more and sometimes less. Sometimes we need a nasal sound. Sometimes we need an open sound. And knowing how to use them correctly that flows into the perfect recipe for great singing. So, pitch duration and all of that and giving weight. Then there is, of course, all the vowels and all the consonants, how to place them correctly. I always teach basing everything on an ah, on an open ah, and pretty much everything else is around that. It's almost like you want to sing ah the entire time you sing, but of course you have to sing ooh and eh and j and but you always have that basic space of an open ah back in your pharyngeal space, and everything else is just shaped by those soft parts, always keeping as much of the placement of the ah as possible. Okay? And then when you've mastered all of that, then you can really pinpoint. You can really do like a boot camp, like a mini boot camp. And I love that. There was someone in my master class a while ago, and she was so amazing. She really was so focused, and she always said, okay, Freya, this is what I'm working on this week. I'm doing a boot camp on chest voice and staying in chest voice and getting higher in chest voice. And I'm doing a boot camp about that this week. I'm going to find out how to do it. And you're going to help me by suggesting exercises and telling me if it's right or not and what I can improve on. And I love that idea so much that I started creating more challenges that, guided challenges where I could say, okay, you want to really do a boot camp on one topic, then let's do a whole week of onset exercises. And I have in my Back to the Basics course, I have several of those challenges that walk you through an entire week of exercises for one specific topic. So I have a better onset challenge, I have a better resonance challenge, I have a better transitions challenge, I have a better mix challenge, I have a better tuning challenge, better belting challenge, better vocal cord closure challenge, and there are more I add every other week because these are the ones that I'm running in my master class, but I also add them to the Back to the Basics course. So pretty much, I think this, when you put all of this together, this is the perfect recipe, the perfect ingredients for great singing. If you can master these areas, and again, it always comes back to the basics. And that's why it's always, anything goes wrong with your voice or anything doesn't work out or it doesn't feel right, go revisit the basics. It always comes back to one of those things. It never fails. There's really nothing else to it. Always comes back to those areas. Okay, so let me now actually get into your comments and let's see. It is so great to have you all today. And okay, Lenya asks, how do we know when our voice is supported? Based on your videos, I already know the exercises to strengthen support, but I can't tell when my voice is correctly supported. Any advice? Well, basically, if you feel the strain here, then maybe you're not supported. Of course, it's not an easy thing to actually know exactly where the mistake lies, where you're having the problem. That's why, of course, the vocal coach, that is always someone who has a lot of experience. They can help you probably so much better to really pinpoint, to know for sure what it is. And my experience is most of the time it's not just one thing. Most of the time it starts with one thing, but it triggers a whole chain reaction of things happening. So for example, when you don't have good posture, it just has this chain reaction of, okay, now you're not taking a deep breath. Now you're not supporting. Now you don't have enough air. Now you're pushing because you don't have enough air and you don't have enough compression. So see how it can trigger all of that. Your vocal cords don't close right. Here it goes. It starts with your vocal cords not closing tightly enough. Let's just say you want to sing a high belted pitch and your vocal cords don't close enough. Well, just because of that, you might be pushing out more air than necessary. You might be putting strain on your vocal cords. You might dislocate your jaw because you're trying really hard and you might get really tense in your body, which then, of course, again, compromises your posture, which then prevents you from taking another deep breath, which then also prevents you from being really well supported. And it triggers this whole chain reaction of like all kinds of things going wrong. And so, that's why checking, it's almost like I'm going to create that too. I'm going to have to write it down. My team members have to help me create that. We need basically a daily checklist or whenever, like a mental checklist. I have that mental checklist. I have it. It's so internalized for me. But if it's not for you, then literally write down all the points I just talked about today. Okay. Posture, support, inhaling, exhaling, like the inhalation process, the exhalation process, even airstream outward, which means support. If you have an even airstream outward, that's how you can check if you have support. Okay, do I have support? Now, vocal cords, are they closed? Am I in the right register? So vocal cords, register, closure, and then soft palate, tongue, jaw, neck, shoulders, like this entire checklist of where is something not aligned. And that's how you can find, troubleshoot yourself basically. Okay, I hope that answered your question. And again, there's never an easy answer. It's never just it sounds easy enough when I just like, well, just check this, and this. But it's not just always so obvious. It just, it's always a combination of a lot of different things. It's like learning a language. It's never just the grammar. It's also vocabulary. It's also the enunciation in order to make good language. It's also good, I don't know, good flow of the language, syntax, and all these things make up a good writer. You can't say, well, if you have good grammar, you're a good writer. Or if you know all the words, you are a good writer. There's just a lot. Okay. Why do I always get so passionate when I talk? It's like, yes! It makes me tired sometimes to teach because I'm just so, it takes a lot of physical energy for me because I'm not like, okay, now support. I don't know, when I talk about support, I do it. When I talk about vocal cord closure, I do it. When I talk about belting, I do it. It's like my body does it. My body gets into the position. And when I see a student who has a lot of tension, it makes me tense because I don't know, maybe it's like I'm empathic. It's like it makes me do the same thing for some reason. I mirror that. Hi, Stevie. Eloisa, Hele, Amy, Alam, Deepa. Awesome. Okay, I'm not actually going to go into exercise today because that would be endless. You can find tons of exercises. I have tons of videos on YouTube. For each one of those topics, you can just search on YouTube and you can find videos. I made videos about all of that separately. And of course, if you wanted it in a very organized way that makes a lot of sense, I'm not relaunching yet, but in the next 2 weeks, I'm actually going to relaunch my Back to the Basics course. It will be available on mobile, on an app also, and it also will be, all the lessons will be video and audio. So you can either watch the videos or you can listen as an audio whenever you're going for a run and you want more input about singing. It's almost like, my students all tell me, Freya, it's almost like I have this bird sitting on my shoulder tweeting into my ear what I'm supposed to do when I sing because you've been telling me all these things and I already hear, before you say it, I already hear what you're going to say. And that's good. I become this internal voice. Like, okay, stretch more. Okay, open your jaw more. Don't tense up. Take a deeper breath. Hi, Mark. It's good to have you here live. Amir says, can I start practice singing at any age? Well, yeah. My recommendation is when someone's extremely young, yeah, like 8 years old or something, I think children, that's my opinion. Personally, it really helps a lot just to do general music training and to become musical and to start listening for things. I don't think it makes that much sense yet to talk about a lot of vocal technique. I think just modeling good habits, and just because kids are amazing, they just pretty much do what they see others do. And so just surrounding kids with, if they are interested in singing, just let them watch good singers and let them have some general music training. I think starting an instrument is always, it's gonna help you so much in the future as a singer. And so, just leaving them in that playful state and not overthinking, I think that's going to set them up for a lot of success later if they wanted to start singing seriously and really dive into proper technique and doing hard stuff. But as far as that is, you can start at any age. You can start at 75. I've had students start in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they made progress. They didn't make a lot less progress than younger people. Maybe it just takes a lot more repetition. However, when someone is a little bit older, you make up for that intuitive learning. You make up for it by being a more focused learner. So younger people, it's harder for them to be more focused, but it's easier for them to just intuitively, you watch and you pick up, and your body just responds easier and quicker, and you just things become more automatic more quickly because you still are forming all those connections. But for older people, I think they can learn just as fast as younger people because they make up for that intuitiveness by being able to be more focused and intentional. Thank you so much, Chetan. I appreciate it. Kalbo Dikin, Gideon, Cora, Yannick, shouting out to everyone. Sheila, John, Risham, Opus, hi there. Is it normal to have a slightly irritation while singing, but with drinking of water, it disappeared? Then it might be something in your vocalization process here on this level of your vocal cords. So it's hard to tell without hearing, but if you have any strain or irritation or hoarseness that is not intentional, then that shouldn't happen. Unless you've sung for a couple hours, and then it probably, depending on how long you've been training and how much your voice is trained, you're gonna get tired. That's normal. Everyone gets tired vocally eventually. It's a muscle. There are muscles, and every muscle will eventually get tired. Thank you, William. Oh, awesome. A junior classical singer from Myanmar. Great. Okay, couple more questions maybe before I wrap up. How do we navigate between low and high notes in a phrase, especially when it needs to be done quickly without changing registers too drastically or prevent sudden change in tone? Yeah, well, okay. There's an amazing video coming up next week, Friday, 27th. Is that the 27th? Is that? No, it's not. Whatever, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. It's the one next Tuesday, I think. I'm doing a collaboration with another YouTube vocal coach, and because it's hard for me as a woman to actually demonstrate male voice because I don't have one. And he's actually gonna present to you exercises for the secondo passaggio, which means, that main break in your voice. So that is gonna be great for you. You can do things, lots of things. You can work on your mix, but only if you don't have a strong head voice or a strong chest voice. If you have both that are strong, then it's much easier to connect and to actually have a decent transition to where not one register sounds completely different from the other. So there are a lot of things you can do to train that. Oh, thank you, Lazip. You want to sing like me because you want to sing good. Thank you. Well, that's why, I have so much stuff that's available. If you have not gone to my website, there's lots of free stuff, free resources. Go to my website and just go to, is it free stuff? Downloads? I don't even know my own website because I changed stuff around. But there is a section, a whole page with all the free stuff I offer, apart from all the YouTube videos and my podcast that you can download. So yeah, I need to wrap it up because there's no way I can possibly answer all the questions. There's lots and lots. No, Vanita, not Dr. Dan, but there will be a collaboration coming up with him next spring, probably. I have been talking to him. I've always been in contact with him. I do have I have a video where I collaborate with him on my channel, and also there's one where I teach on his channel. And I'm going to do another one with him soon, but this one next week is with someone else. And I respect that guy a lot. Great pedagogue, great in technique, actual trained singer, So this is all for today, my dearies, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Again, another video will drop today about open throat singing. So important. So that's that pharyngeal space that we always talk about, that I always talk about at least. It should be talked about a lot. The soft palate and everything that is opposite that. So can you see how dark it is in my room? It's just insane. It should have been like that. That curtain does not look pretty behind me there. lots of really cool stuff coming up here on YouTube. And one thing that's going to come up that you can watch out for is that I'm actually taking applications, but that's not, mm, I don't have the link right now here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post the link after I get done. If you are interested, you can actually apply if you're brave enough and send me a short video of yourself, and I will give you feedback here on YouTube where I play your video and then I give you a feedback on what to improve on. Because it's been frustrating me that when I do these lives, you ask me questions, but it's really hard to answer questions that are specifically about your voice, about a problem that you have. So hearing it, even 10 seconds of hearing you, it's going to totally tell me, I can see and I can hear what it is that what the problem is, where it comes from. So yeah, that is coming up soon, a new series where I give feedback to anyone who wants it, and you can apply, and I will post the link below this video in the description after I get off the live stream. And if you want to catch up, make sure you are on my email list. So if you register for any of the free things that I have on my website, you can also opt in and be on my email list if you want to. And then you won't miss any of those things like, wanting to get feedback, and when I have a challenge going on like I did last week, and where you can interact on a more personal level. All right, y'all. It's awesome to have you, and have a great weekend. I hope to see you soon. Bye now.